Welcome back to the second installment of the Mental Reps podcast, dropping fresh science weekly for the masses. It is time once again to limber up that limbic system, lengthen your logic, and let us verbally massage your eardrums. Without further ado, let's start the show.
But look how passionately he's sitting in front of the bat signal.
Yeah, dude, for real. He's like making love to the camera in front of the back signal in that black silk
Kiss
robe.
from a Rose, that title just screams Batman, son.
See, he's got like a
Right,
Michael Strahan.
It is terrible. That's what I'm saying. I've been against this the whole time.
He's got like a Michael Strahan gap with like a Wayne Huizinga face. It's not like
Wasn't he dating a supermodel?
Heidi Klum?
Oh,
Yeah, so he gets
married
a
to
pass.
Heidi Klum for
He
like
gets
many
a
years.
pass because,
Lucky dude.
And he's gonna get all her money too.
I want
because
lupus.
No, you
she
don't.
cheated on him.
Nice.
She
Like a
cheated
boss.
on him, so he's gonna get alimony, son.
Wow, that's
Did
pretty
she
awesome.
really? Is that what happened?
Something like that.
Damn.
I don't know. Do you see yourself being loyal to somebody with lupus?
Ooh.
Why I
that's
gotta go to
fucked
the lupus?
up.
I'm just saying he has
Jesus.
lupus.
That's
So
real talk.
That's fucked
That's a
up.
legitimate question. If you're freaking
I legitimately want to punch you in the face right now.
shit, I want to punch you in the face for making me hear this song in the first place. This early in the day.
Yeah, it is a little early.
Freaking horrible that song.
It's never too early to get a kiss from a rose.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, that
How
was,
many lines
dude,
of
that
coke
was
did you do
fucking
before
beautiful, dude.
we got here?
That was some beautiful shit right there.
Oh God.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
All right, this is the second installment of the Mental Reps podcast. My name is Brian Wright. I'll be your host. To my right, I have my dude Vic.
Victor Martinez. You can find me Twitter SlickVic954.
Rico.
Rico Gayle, you can find me at Twitter, Afro Sunrise.
That's awesome.
Hello.
Jeffrey, he's finally got a mic.
Yeah, we got some new equipment for the podcast too. This is great.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
tight work,
hell yeah.
fellas, by the way. And yeah, man, this is Mental Reps podcast. This is a second episode. We are going to try and cover a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Kind of go over a couple of things in the sports world. The Heat streak is finally over, but you know, whatever.
So the Denver Nuggets streak is also over. So there's no winning streaks. I think we jinxed it on the last podcast.
I do, yeah. I think you called it at 27, didn't you?
Yeah, 27 is a good one. Yeah, man. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the sports world, some stuff going on in March Madness. We got a lot of things happening in the political world. The marriage equality with DOMA and the Supreme Court ruling over gay marriage. And damn, dude, this Monsanto thing. We're gonna really try and dive into that a little bit later. The honeybees, these damn North Koreans are out of damn control. They're still doing it. It's like a cycle. They come back around every once in a while. Whenever things start like looking pretty shady with South Korea again, I guess their agreement or whatever. Whenever it comes back around, they always start making these threats. Well, we're gonna get into that more later. Arts and sciences. We're going to get into some futurology, some shit that's going to be popping off down the road. And that's going to be a fun talk, like looking at future technologies and whatnot.
By the way, I love the word futurology.
Oh, yeah, dude.
It's a nice little made-up word there.
I'd also like to point out that
it's a real word.
it's called futurism, and you're all idiots.
But no, futurology is a real word. I found it when looking up what is it, Ray Kurzweil?
Yeah, I
described as
think
a
that's where
futurist.
I got it from, too. Anyway.
Singularity, bitches.
Singularity, dog.
I'm gonna side with Jeff on this.
An
one,
interface
actually.
between humans and machines. All right, well, dude, I know that, like, just briefly, Jeff brought this shit up, and I don't know. I think we got to talk about
You talking
this
about
Russian
Time Cube?
dude.
Oh,
Time Cube. Oh
dude,
my
timecube.com. 3 equator, 4 corner Earth time rotates 96 hours as simultaneous 4-day cube.
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, dude. And also, before we get into this, I was gonna say, first of all, go check out Jeff on whatsupdoc.com. I wanted to do that last week. I know Vic kind of shouted it out.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. And,
Appreciate the shout out.
Yesterday, dude, I have really quick. We went and saw Olympus Has Fallen. Oh.
I said we should just wait.
If you want a good laugh, go see that shit, dude. Not to say I don't want it to come off like wrong. Like, dude, first of all, it's really unfeasible what was going on in that movie. It was pretty bad. But it was just the dialogue. The dialogue was so bad. And without giving too much away, I'll just say one thing, dude. When there was at one point, this lady's getting like dragged away by terrorists, and she's screaming out the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm like, oh.
So she wasn't gonna give the code up, son. Shit.
Yeah, right. Was it as bad as Zero Dark 30 on a propaganda scale?
I didn't see.
I haven't seen Zero Dark 30, but I could imagine this is probably worse.
I think, dude, it was pretty.
It was pretty bad with the propaganda.
And it was blatant too. It was very blatant, which is very weird.
I couldn't tell if they were doing this like like exactly like Brian said. I don't know if this was meant to be a comedy or a satire or a parody of patriotism, but dang, man, I laughed my ass off the whole thing.
Seriously, it was fucking hilarious. I haven't laughed that hard at a movie in a while.
Morgan Obama was my favorite.
Morgan Obama.
The God president.
Everything.
Ever since I was a young boy.
I feel like even he kind of mailed it in, man. He was like, this movie's shit, so I'm just going to do like my bare minimum Morgan Freeman thing and try and get through it.
I just love how an Australian actor saves America in the whole movie. Gerard Butler is Australian, right? Or
he's Scottish.
Scottish.
I thought. Okay. I thought he's Australian.
He's the greatest American hero, apparently. So.
You know how easy it is to get those two confused. All right, well, let's go to a Russian dude now who exposed himself to radiation in order to become immortal. Jeff, you brought this shit up, dude. I wanted to talk about it.
It was an article I found, and apparently this guy, he wanted to get superpowers, and he thought the best way to go about that would be to expose himself to radiation.
What is problem? Why this no work?
Wow.
So they found 14 kilograms of radioactive material, and they got 7 years in prison. So I hope he's got good chemo and.
Yeah, him and his scientific assistant supposedly is what they call him. Like, I guess he was on a quest for immortality, like you said, and he repeatedly exposed himself to high doses of radiation.
Where did he even find like the radioactive material?
This is
in
Russia,
the Marvel
man.
universe.
You can find anything in Russia.
What, it's just like out in a corner store or something?
Dude,
well, if you just search around in the snow long enough, you'll find whatever you need.
Dude, it just goes to show you, man, the Russians are on the cutting edge, bro. They're pushing the limits,
but
dude.
Chernobyl is still radioactive, and Pripyat and the forest. If you walk out there, you'll die in like a matter of hours.
And they said this guy went there. Did you just say that? This guy went to Chernobyl to get exposure.
Yeah.
And thinking that would like help his chances, I guess. I don't know. But dude, I thought that was fucking hilarious, man. Speaking of immortality, the heat.
Well, I was gonna say, it just reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons where it was they all get superpower. No, it wasn't The Simpsons. It was Family Guy. It was one of those like short clip episodes where they all get superpowers from being radioactive, and Adam West thinks, "Oh, I'm gonna fight them because they're taking over the city." He gets cancer from radioactive material. It just reminds me of that one.
Good candidate for the Darwin Award this year, but unfortunately, I don't think he's gonna die. So.
Well, what if just before he dies, he ends up getting superpowers?
Then it's all worth it.
I will bite my tongue, sir.
It's all a part of plan.
It's all part of plan. No worries. All right, dude. Well, I mean, we started talking about it for a sec, but yeah, dude, fucking heat streak's over. Or I shouldn't say we. I'll try and put my homerisms aside for a second. They won 27 in a row. They lost to the Bulls in a really intense physical game.
Angry game. They were angry.
Yeah, dude, they were angry. And that's something I wanted to talk about is these heavy fouls. And I know that Vic and I were kind of talking about this a little bit yesterday. You're going to have that in a game like that. It's like a playoff atmosphere, and again, everybody wants a chance to knock off the Heat off of their win streak, so they came out pumped, dude. I mean, as far as I look at it, let them have it. It's like their championship. Like, this is like 2 years ago or last year, with the Celtics and with the Knicks, these regular season wins or losses for us, they that's like their championship. And let them have it. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, it was a great game to watch. Like, it was physical. Don't get me wrong. It was one of those games that kind of remind me of the games back in the 90s where, people were dunking over centers and power forwards instead of point guards nowadays. Which, I mean, I love LeBron James, but let's be real. All these dunks he's doing on Jason Terry and a guy that was 5'9" last year. He should be able to jump over a guy that's 5'9".
That was still amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. The Blake Griffin dunk on Kendrick Perkins was a lot more impressive to me. That was like going through a brick wall right there. But,
yeah.
but I mean, no, I agree with you. I mean, they can go ahead and celebrate that win. It looked like the Miami Dolphins when they almost had the winless season when the Ravens came to town. They claimed they weren't going to be the ones to give them their first win, and they did. And boy, did we celebrate that like it was the Super Bowl. I mean,
absolutely.
That's how the Chicago Bulls looked that day. It was like, we beat the Heat. We had the streak.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not the parade.
It's not the playoffs, though, so they can suck it.
Exactly. And I don't see any other team in this league that can beat us in a 7-game series.
No, there's none.
I just, if you look through even the top teams in the East and the West, that's why, I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we're going to be talking probably a lot about it come playoff time. But it's historical. I mean, for a team to be able to do something like that in the modern era of sports is extremely impressive in my opinion.
Very.
So I think that they're on their way to another championship. But I had to touch on this Danny Ainge and Pat Riley feud. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I heard that. Well, I didn't hear Danny Ainge complain about it. I heard it through other people, but I definitely heard the response from Pat Riley, which I thought was great.
What are they feuding about?
Basically, what happened is Danny Ainge, she's the exec.
Yeah, he's
from Boston, and he came out and said that he thought it was embarrassing that LeBron James was complaining about the fouls in that Chicago game. Which, if you watch the game, I mean, they are tackling. And there's this one play that Heinrich literally wraps up Bosch's arms and just rips the ball out and runs the opposite direction. And they didn't do anything. It's like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, or the full face contact with LeBron.
Oh, that was multiple of that. And it wasn't just on LeBron. It was on Dwayne Wade also.
Yes,
I mean, they were going after their faces, man.
When you're the big dog on the court, I think there's a little bias from the
that plus the Chicago Bulls and the Heat actually have that kind of hate for each other. If you noticed in the playoffs like 2 years ago when they faced each other, that was actually a pretty brutal series.
Yeah.
They were going after each other.
Yeah, dude.
And for the Bulls to do this was actually pretty impressive considering they didn't have Derrick Rose and they didn't have Joakim Noah. They weren't at full strength. They were still able to give the Heat some trouble and then won the game. No, like I said, it was a great game to watch, but we'll see them playoff time.
And Van Gundy, who used to be the coach of the Heat, was kind of the mentor to Thibodeau. And Thibodeau, and obviously Van Gundy is like Pat Riley's little apprentice. So it kind of trickles down the physical style of play. Pat Riley is known for that. And the fact that they kind of beat them at their own game. But I think they went way too far with the physicality of it. But I just think that it was awesome. And Pat Riley, just to go back to what we were saying about Danny Ainge, he came back and said Danny Ainge, and I quote, needs to shut the fuck up and manage his own team.
Damn.
He was the biggest whiner going when he was playing, and I know that because I coached against him. And I just think I love that quote,
Rocket
dude.
punch.
And these dudes know each other. I mean, he coached against Ainge when he was a player and when he's a team exec. And I just love that.
Need to shut the fuck up when grown folks is talking.
Yeah, dude, and he's clearly sticking up for LeBron, which is smart because 2014 is right around the corner. I don't think that there's any risk of LeBron leaving Miami. I think he's going to re-sign, but still not a bad move by Pat Riley, showing that he supports his number one dude, and he's not going to let any of that shit happen. But what are you looking at, dude?
I'm looking at the notes.
Oh, okay. Freaking real quick, Kobe passes Wilt on the all-time scoring list. I just had to give mad props to Kobe on that, even though I'm not the biggest fan, but that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, fuck
when
Kobe.
you can pass Wilt Chamberlain on the all-time scoring list. He, I believe, popped up to 4th in the all-time scoring list, which is pretty damn impressive.
Man, fuck Kobe.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to say the same thing, but I got mad respect for that dude. The NCAA tournament games today. Louisville is playing Duke, Michigan versus Florida in the Elite 8 games, the last of the Elite 8 games. Damn, dude. Miami just fell on their ass the other night against Marquette. It was really, really tough game to watch. It was like, have you ever seen Space Jam?
Yeah.
You know how the NBA players looked after the Evil Tunes came and sucked all of their talent out of them?
Yeah.
That's how the Canes looked the whole first half. Dude, they scored 16 points
Damn.
the first half. It was pretty damn pathetic. But, yeah, Syracuse and Wichita State are already in the Final Four, which a 9-seed Wichita State to get in there is pretty damn cool. Have you been watching the games?
I saw the Florida Gulf Coast in the Florida game, which, oh, man, I was excited at first for Florida Gulf Coast, but then Florida started pulling away, and I was like, they ended up losing. But, I mean, it was a good run for Florida Gulf Coast. They were actually a really fun team to watch. I mean,
yeah.
Are there any
Yeah,
Florida
really
teams
were.
still left in the tournament?
Florida Gators. They're in the Elite Eight right now. They play against Michigan tonight
Nice.
or today.
They play against Michigan, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see if they'll be able to make it to the Final Four after today.
And I just think it's so cool that the state of Florida had 3 teams in the Sweet 16.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool.
Kind of reminded me of that one year where all these teams, like even the smaller schools like FIU, FAU were in the tourney as well. I mean, a few years ago. So it was actually kind of cool to see that many teams representing Florida in the tournament. That was good.
Hell yeah. So I guess we'll see. Anything else that you were going to say? Okay. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. You know, Louisville, I'm rooting for Louisville. I'd like to see them win it. I'm done seeing Duke win it every year or some, you know, high team like that.
So are most message board members of FARC.com.
Just to wrap up quickly with the sports talk, Tony Romo signed a 6-year, $108 million deal. $55 million guaranteed, $25 million signing.
If I knew
bonus.
throwing that many interceptions was going ahead and give me that much money, I would have been an NFL quarterback a long time ago.
Dude, I mean, it's not that he doesn't put the work in. He's playing the games. It's just I don't see how you can reward like that type of money to somebody who, I mean, when you compare him to other quarterbacks like Brady, Breeze, and the Manning brothers, and Roethlisberger and Rodgers.
I mean, they were talking about whether Joe Flacco deserved this kind of money, and he won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I don't know if Tony Romo won what? How many playoff games? One, maybe?
I think he won one last year. It was the first one that they
He
won.
made it to the playoffs like multiple years. He's only won one game in the playoffs.
I'd also like to point out that teachers make a fraction of that, and they have a much more important purpose in our society.
Well, until people want to pay their taxes, I mean, there's really not much we could do about that. I mean, if people are willing to spend
That's
over
unfortunate.
$60+ for tickets, jerseys, things like that, but they don't want to pay a few more dollars in taxes, I mean, that's just kind of the society that we live in. So, I mean, maybe we should start broadcasting like elementary school, like classrooms. Start cheering teachers on, and like the best ones get like these contract bonuses and
Wouldn't
stuff.
that be cool to like do something where like you go in and like celebrate the American teacher like in a classroom and like treat them like a celebrity,
Like
for
a
day
hero.
or
That's what they
something?
should be.
Yeah.
You know what I think would end up happening though in this day and age? It's treated like a reality show, and it end up being a lot worse. than it
Yeah,
should be.
and then it is somehow focused on
Mark
the
Burnett will-
competition as opposed to the actual quality of the teacher themselves.
Good call.
yeah.
Mark Burnett will somehow
God,
get
we're
his
so negative.
little
No,
pause on it.
Oh, I thought we were just proposing we do this reality show and make a lot of money off of it. Are we not doing that?
Absolutely
We'll do
not.
It will be a
Damn
non-profit
it.
reality show.
Why can't we never make money, guys? Come on.
Yeah, dude, real quick, the Dolphins signed former Pro Bowler and Atlanta Falcon cornerback Brent Grimes to a 1-year, $5.5 million deal. I mean, he's coming off of this torn Achilles, but he's proven that he can play at a high level when he's healthy. But I think that the 1-year deal is good. It's low risk. Even if he doesn't come back fully from the injury and he can't perform, you're not stuck with him for a 5-year contract. So the Dolphins need to upgrade that position, especially after Vontae Davis. We traded him before last year, and we lost Sean Smith to free agency. So, I mean, the top 2 cornerbacks, I think, without Grimes, were Richard Marshall and Nolan Carroll. So we definitely needed to bolster that up. And he is added to the list of dudes that we picked up in this free agent class. Wide receivers Mike Wallace and Brandon Gibson. Tight end Dustin Keller. Linebackers Donnell Ellerby and Philip Wheeler, which I'm really excited about those dudes. All those guys, really.
Yeah, but do we have an offensive line?
That's the thing. I mean, we've got some dudes. I know that we've had some guys in the interview. We've signed a couple low-level guys, but that's another position that we've got to
I wouldn't be
draft heavy or trade heavy.
I wouldn't be shocked if the losing Jake Long is going to be one of those bite us in the ass moves like it usually happens to the Miami Dolphins, like getting rid of Wes Welker to the Patriots.
That's well, that's been our MO over the last couple decades here, is that we'll have several things lined up perfectly while we've got holes spewing out in other areas where we got to try and be able to get a complete squad here. So I know that everybody's really pumped about Mike Wallace and getting these linebackers, but you got to keep realistic expectations because we play in the NFL versus other NFL teams who've really got their shit figured out. So.
And even worse, we still in the same division as Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. So, yeah,
we're in the same division. Yeah, you know what, man? I mean, you could see what can happen. That one year we went from 1-15 to 11-5. Or I'm sorry, was it 11 and or it was 3-13 to 11?
But that was because Bill Parcells like completely created that whole team. Like he got rid of a bunch of people, brought in a lot of short-term people for like a quick fix, and that's exactly what it was.
But
it was a quick fix.
Again, we still got the same general manager. We still got the same owner who thinks that having an orange carpet and celebrity owners are more important than getting good players, which I know that's kind of a big statement. He would probably disagree with that, but I still maintain that that's what's really happening. I'm sick of going to the games and seeing Kim Kardashian on the Jumbotron or like Mark Anthony, fins up. Like, I'm done, dude. Just put a good product on the field.
But Brian, we changed our logo. Where do you want?
That's another thing, man. I don't know. I saw the new logo.
I'm disappointed in the fact that we're over here trying to praise concussion safety and everything like that, and our Dolphins logo loses its helmet. I mean, I don't like that at all.
It's a good point.
Yeah, that's
where's the safety, guys?
I was saying, where's the safety for our
Dolphins? I didn't
Dolphin?
think about that, dude. That's pretty.
But it follows the trend in logo design now. I mean, it looks sleek and there's like no detail. Yeah, it does.
Logo. I mean, it's hard for me because, I mean, dude, they've been my favorite team since I was a little tyke. So seeing that logo, I'm so used to it. And, yeah, I could see getting rid of the helmet. I could see upgrading it. And it really doesn't look that bad. I mean, I'm sure that it will grow on me. It's just, it's kind of a shock. Just, it looks a lot different. I guess they could have done a lot worse. Let's put it that way. They could have really torn it up and
make like a breakdancing dolphin.
Like a dolphin, like throwing the football with his
fin. We should bring back Flipper with a big tank behind the end zone.
It would be better than that shit that's out in the middle of the what was that, the Miami Stadium, that god awful statue thing that's like in the middle of center field.
You talking about
Marlins Ballpark?
Yeah, man.
It looks like a pop-up book.
It's terrible.
Such an eyesore,
dude. Honestly, I went there like I think it was the first or second game at that place, and I'm sitting in the stands and I'm like, $6 million or whatever that awful price for it looks like a pop-up book. And then it literally looks like a pop-up.
And when someone hits a home run or something, it erupts in this orgasm of color and like it's the most ugly fucking like god awful eyesore in baseball.
Water spews up and
I'm gonna go ahead and say it's the most ugly thing in sports.
It looks like it belongs more in the It's a Small World ride at Disney than it does over there at center field. It really does. It looks horrible.
Bad acid trip.
Bad acid trip. Dude. Well, all right. Let's just try and wrap up the last couple of things here with sports so we can move on. Tiger Woods is #1 again. He finished 13 under par to win the Arnold Palmer Invitation this past Monday. So Woods is now 11-4 favorite to win the Masters. That's like a 3-1 favorite to win the Masters. So those are pretty crazy odds. If you want to go gamble, Vegas is waiting for you. All right, and the former NFL player Kwame Harris confirms he's gay, which is an interesting subject. I mean, he's again former player, so I'm waiting for somebody who's a current athlete to come out. It's what this guy is bringing up is a very good point, that the NFL and the culture is not exactly very welcoming to somebody who is a homosexual or gay. So I understand that the hesitation of a dude who's in a locker room with a bunch of other dudes, and there's just testosterone flying all over the place, and the last thing you want is for the whole locker room to think you're staring at their dick. So I can understand their hesitation, but I think that once it does happen, that the culture will change, and eventually they'll be more welcoming, and it's not going to be that like aura of, you know, like you can't bring that up in a locker room. I think they'll be understanding. What I'm a little more concerned about, what I think these other dudes are, is the fans, and when they're at the games and people get boozed up,
That's
and the shit that they're going to say to their families, and the stuff that they're gonna have to go through. So I mean, I get that it's a interesting subject. I don't know if you guys got any.
I really don't believe that that's probably gonna be. I think the general public is getting more and more open to the idea, you know, more, you know, gay people being in our culture and things like that. So I don't really think the fans are gonna be too much. I think it's still more concerned over the locker room than anything else, because you got a bunch of old school coaches, you got a lot of people that grew up on that old school mentalities.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so it's like, look at the San Francisco 49ers were actually kind of in the news about it a few months ago, with Chris Culliver made that whole statement. Oh,
that's right.
I wouldn't accept having a gay person in our locker room, which I thought was the most hilarious thing.
He was an asshole about it.
Yeah, he was a real asshole about it, but the real dumb part about it was that he plays for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah,
which is
like one of the gay
in San
cities of the country.
in San Francisco, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's kind of like one of the gay meccas in the world, and you're gonna be saying that kind of thing, and it was so.
It's
dumb.
like being playing for the Packers and saying you hate cheese.
Yeah, so it was really one of those dumb things that, you know, that a lot of people still carry around with them. And like I said, I don't really think the fans are gonna be too into it, because like I said, how often are they gonna recognize certain people's family members in a crowd and then point them out? And I don't really think it's gonna be the case. I think it's just more, you know, with people dealing with each other in the locker room and meetings and all that other stuff. I think that's probably more.
I can't really say that it surprises me, though. I mean, you put a bunch of guys together in tight pants, and they touched each other and like lived together pretty much for so long. I mean, somebody's going to be gay eventually.
No one's closer to each other than the center and the quarterback.
Flawless.
So
Some guy's gonna be like cleaning off their cleats and catch a dude out of the corner, out of the peripheral, and just be
like the Ryu and Ken Street
for?
Fighter image where they're like staring lovingly into each other's eyes.
"Yeah, dude, come on, man, you're gonna toss it to the tight end."
Football's a man's sport.
Don't you ever toss it to the tight end.
Toss it to the tight end, baby. All right, well, that kind of leads us into our next subject. On a more serious note, marriage equality, the Supreme Court ruling on this DOMA. People are still rallying around this. I know that you guys had some information behind us that you guys wanted to speak to a little bit. But basically, these same-sex couples don't qualify for the same benefits on a federal level, like insurance, Social Security, survivors benefits, immigration, and the joint filing of tax returns. I have my own little take on this. I don't know if you guys want to speak to it a little bit before.
Well, what I noticed about it when looking at the subject is like all of those things seems to be like budgeting issues. You know what I mean? It just seems like it seems very odd that they're just trying to. Or not necessarily odd, but it seems like that decision was made from a budgetary standpoint, because you're like, okay, if we're trying to save money here, where can we cut costs? And well, if we deny gay people the same rights as straight people, then that saves us. We don't have to pay them health insurance. We don't have to pay them Social Security payouts. We don't have to pay them all this other stuff, which is pretty awful. But
And that seems plausible, but that's no one's opinion in Congress, and no one's testifying to that fact either. So it's like they'd rather be a bigot than say that they're trying to prevent people from.
Yeah, obviously,
marrying.
and it's way easier that way too, because you have religion behind it, so it's going to push that forward. So,
I don't know. To me, it's just one of those really dumb things that this is still an issue nowadays. I mean, no, it really is, because
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're trying to back up the whole because this is it affects the sanctity of
sanctity of marriage.
Yeah, it affects the sanctity of marriage, or because our Christian values doesn't uphold that kind of stuff.
You got to think about the children, Vic.
Yeah, I mean, but still, at the same time, there's so many things in the Christian Bible that we're doing nowadays that are really, honestly, we just finished talking about football. Honestly, we want to break down the Bible, football, that's a huge sin right there. I mean, we're playing with a pig carcass, and you know, it's a game that's being played with a pig carcass. You know, like I said, apparently now there's gay people in the league too. So I mean, and they're basically doing gay stuff. It's a borderline prison in there, but
borderline prison.
But at the same time, it's one of those things. It's like, but it's it's one of those sports that football would go up in arms if it was all of a sudden stopped being played on their TVs. So, I mean, there's really too much things in the Bible, anyways, that go against what we actually do in this society. And that's why the whole religious aspect of me is, I think, not really a good argument at all.
Yeah, that's like the most paper thin argument anyone could ever use.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree with everything you guys said. Did you want?
Wouldn't that be shitty if that's what got people to like form a revolution? Is that football got canceled instead of any of this important
Ray
stuff?
Lewis would agree with you, dude. Ray Lewis said that shit last year. He's like, before the strike ended, he's like, if you don't have football, watch what's going to happen in the streets.
Oh my God.
You're going to have anger, fighting. It was intense, dude. It was intense. But I totally agree with you guys. I think we need to stop projecting our own idea of morality on people, whatever that may be. And if you have your own opinions, that's fine. But I'm a big advocate for trying to live, a harmonious life and trying to set an example by acting the way that I'd like to act. I'd like to see others to act. But am I gay? No. Do I agree with the certain subtleties around it? Not necessarily. But do I think they have every right whatsoever? Do I have any right whatsoever to judge somebody because they disagree? No, not at all. I think that I have a lot of gay friends who I'm really close with. It doesn't even come up in conversation.
How close, Brian?
It doesn't even come up in conversation. I think just, if someone chooses to pair up with someone of the same sex to navigate this crazy ass world that we live in, it's not taking any skin off my back. And if you believe in the issue of loyalty to God and his laws, then you'd have to agree that God is the one who judges hearts. So, not men. So we're not morality police. And if you're protesting this, your morality, if you're pissed because you don't want people getting more benefits or whatever, then that's too fucking bad.
Oh, they're loving each other.
It's
God
the
damn
same
it.
thing you're doing, in your shitty relationship, which is the same contract you get into in a regular marriage, which has less than a 50% success rate, I might add. And people like Newt Gingrich, who's been married 3 times and dumped his wife while she had cancer, talking about the sanctity of marriage is insane. Yeah. So, again, whether you agree with it or not, it's not your job to police it. If you just gotta chalk it up as a loss and let the chips fall where they may and move on and let them live their life just like you're living your life.
But the big thing here, more than anything else, I think, is equality. It's like, just stop trying to oppress other people.
I mean, wasn't it only just a few decades ago where a black man and a white woman together was almost basically
illegal?
The same issue, going on now with gay marriage? It's like
absolutely
it's the same thing. It's just like
and prohibition. Just throwing that out there. Legalize the ganja bush.
Yeah,
we had to throw it in there every once in a while.
Absolutely. So I don't know. That's madness. I think if you got issues with it, you gotta just get over it.
Actually, kind of dumped in that pisses me off too. A lot of these politicians don't get involved until they realize somebody close to them is gay. Like I think one of the
Dick Cheney's daughter, lesbian.
Oh, I mean, Dick Cheney's evil, but
that doesn't stop him at all.
That's a good example. I mean,
No,
there's a guy right now who was actually, I think, he was one of the lead prosecutors in one of these major trials. It was for the ballot count with Bush versus Gore. He's a staunch conservative Republican, but now he's actually on the side of helping out the gay marriage equality cause. And the only reason why I can fathom that he does that is because I think his son is gay. I don't know the guy's name exactly, but I think he's helping out the lawyer. He's helping out the cause for that. I think he's like one of the lead attorneys for it.
Damn flip floppers.
Exactly.
Chad hangers.
No, but I mean that's the thing. Unless it hits close to home for some of these politicians, it's one of those things that get dealt in the back burner, or at least,
Well, that's a huge problem with our whole political system, is that there's no empathy whatsoever, and they're only looking after themselves and the ones that are surrounded by them.
Yeah.
So there's no decency. There's no like looking out for your common man. There's no representative government. There's only the elite representatives. So that's pretty shitty.
And if it doesn't fit their little consumer-driven,
if it doesn't make the money or it doesn't protect their interests,
that's
they're not
probably
interested.
one of the most like heartbreaking things I've ever heard. Like a lot of sciences don't get developed if they don't have a large enough profit margin. So it's just like, oh, you want that cure for that? Well, how many people can we sell it to? Oh, yeah. See, only like 2% of the population has that. That's not profitable enough. Sorry.
That speaks to what we were talking about last week, man. They like to build things that break. They like to make things that don't work. They like to invest in things that are most profitable, but while letting real innovations that could really honestly change the world, like giving free energy and so like put that. Let's squash that shit.
Yeah,
we don't want that.
Just to kind of wrap it up, here's like a great thing that I read the other day. I was like, if God's gonna be judging America over abortion and gay marriage, then we should be judged for what else? Let's see, all the Native Americans that were raped and murdered when we stole their land, all the Africans that we enslaved and did the same exact thing to, murdered, raped, forced. All this labor upon them without any benefits at all. Barely.
You don't believe in manifest destiny?
It's okay. We could just pick and choose our victimization as well as our reasons for
exactly. Hate. I mean, if God hasn't punished us for all those things, I'm pretty sure gay marriage and abortion is going to be one of those.
Speaking of squashing the human spirit, Monsanto was in some pretty big news this week.
Nice, dude.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Absolutely. While everybody was pretty focused on the gay marriage issue during the Supreme Court rulings and whatnot, Obama let something slide through on a bill. If you guys want, again, I got some thoughts on it, but yeah, this Monsanto Protection Act, basically this rider, known as the Farmer's Assurance Provision, Section 735 of the spending bill. It's a little last-minute addition into the Agricultural Appropriations Bill for 2013. Obama signed on the 26th of March. Basically gives companies like Monsanto, Syngenta, Dow AgroSciences, BASF, Bayer, and DuPont immunity from U.S. courts, protecting them from any future lawsuits about GMO foods, even lawsuits about their effect on our health. And the provision basically protects genetically modified seeds from litigation suits over health risks posed by us eating them. So to think that it effectively bars federal courts from being able to halt like the sale or planting of these GMOs, and no matter what issues may arise.
Yep. Doesn't matter if it kills you. Doesn't matter if it's crippling your children. Doesn't matter. None of that shit. Sorry, guys. It makes us money, so you can't complain about it.
And if you're listening to this and like, oh my God, who gives a shit? Well, guess what? Have you ever drank a soda? Have you ever taken your kids or a nephew or a niece to McDonald's? Have you ever gone to the store to buy food? Have you
eat?
Yeah, literally. Anything you eat, you drink. It is Monsanto is on a gigantic umbrella of food distribution and crops and seeds that they basically are genetically modifying, and there hasn't been enough tests on them to prove whether they are not harmful to one's health, and the ones that have come out have been very... Go ahead, Vic.
Oh, no, go ahead. It was exactly what you were going to state. They're putting out this legislation just in time that all this research that so far they are finding out about genetically modified foods.
Which are all banned in Europe, by the way.
Oh, banned in Europe. They're starting to get banned in South America. I think Peru just kicked out Monsanto. Or not Peru, but I think one of the South American countries. But just like you said, all this information is coming out that these things are really harmful for us. And all these countries, Russia banned them from their country.
Damn,
son.
Yo,
if
Russia
doesn't
banned
want no
that
parts
shit,
of it, we're done.
Yo, we are fucked, dude.
Yeah, and we passed legislation basically protecting these guys. This is insane.
Well, it's not even like we passed it knowing what it was. They wrote their own fucking rider for this bill, and they snuck it in using some dirty politician. I don't know who the fuck it was. But
Senator Roy Blunt.
Oh, there you go.
Republican of Missouri.
You got an email and a number for him so you could blow his
Yeah,
spot up?
I'm gonna give that out towards the end.
Monsanto specifically is terrible. I mean, they've been convicted of false advertising. They've been convicted of falsifying reports and doctoring their scientific evidence. There was 262 studies conducted from Craven Laboratories, their like R&D division, and they got indicted in 1991 for scientific fraud, like falsifying reports. So, like, they're writing their own legislation. They're policing themselves. They're above the law at this point, and that's unacceptable.
Yeah, and what's crazy is the language of this provision was written in collusion with Monsanto, like you were saying. This guy Roy Blunt, and I mean, is it a new thing? Like you said, no, but it sets a precedent, a bad one, and even the fact that these things can be planted, even if it's found to be harmful to consumers, and still be devoid of any liability. It's fucking stunning.
And
it's
they're
incredible.
Insulated by these team of lawyers and a seemingly infinite sum of money, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like
legislation, man.
Yeah, man. In 1996, Monsanto was developing their Roundup weed killer, and they were marketing it, and they were saying, "Oh, it's safer than salt. It's practically non-toxic. You could eat it if you wanted to. It won't harm you," which of course is completely ridiculous. It's fucking crazy.
It's just another example of corporations bending Congress to their will, and it's one that honestly it could have serious health issues for America. And this is not a new thing. Monsanto, if you don't know about them, do your research and go check them out.
It's multifaceted.
Yes.
It's crazy. And specifically, if you remember one thing about Monsanto is, I don't know if you know what aspartame, like the sweetener substitute.
Yeah.
But when aspartame was banned for 15 years when it was developed, because it was toxic and it was a neurotoxin. It was an excitotoxin to the brain, basically. It gave people seizures and shit. So that they wanted to prevent it from coming out in the market. But Rumsfeld and Cheney came into office, and they just passed it right through. Because before that, previously, Cheney was on the board of directors at G.D. Searle, pesticide company, and Rumsfeld was on the board of directors for Monsanto. So when they just hopped the fence over to the government side, they just kind of greenlit all these projects, and their clout basically passed aspartame through the FDA, which is shitty. I mean, that's a terrible story.
Also remember that you got Monsanto executives in government high positions, such as I think they run the FDA, and they also run the Department of Agriculture
and the
as
EPA.
Well.
It's a revolving door with these career politicians.
That seems really fair. By the way.
I believe it's
like
the
that.
new director of the FDA was a Monsanto exec.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. And sorry, go ahead.
No, another thing that gets me mad about this whole thing is they sneaked in this writer because there was the whole the threat of a government shutdown because of the whole sequester and the budget, the budget dealings that they had to do, and the majority, a lot of politicians are claiming that they didn't even know this writer was in there, which is another thing that pisses me off. These people are supposed to be representing us, the people. These are elected officials that we go out of our way to go to the ballots for, and they don't even know what it is they're passing. And we really got to start pressuring the people that we elected to represent us, whether it's either blowing up their phones, blowing up their emails. We got a few of the contact information from the people that have voted on in the House of Representatives and the senators. I got a list of them here, this is not a Republican Democrat thing where you could blame it on either side. This is both of them.
I'd like to point out that we don't advocate blowing up anything. A figure of speech to use the telephone.
Yeah,
infiltrate
just going along with what Vic said, this HR 933, it was a spending bill aimed at averting basically a government shutdown and ensuring that the government would keep paying its bills. And this Center for Food Safety maintains that many Democrats in Congress were unaware that the provision was even in the legislation. And President Obama did nothing to stop it either.
I doubt he even knew it was in there.
Because obviously refusal to sign it would have meant that it would have expired the federal budget.
Oh, no, I believe he had to have known. I mean, he handpicked some of these Monsanto executives to be a part of the Department of Agriculture and the Food and the FDA. So, I mean, he had to have known. I don't care what anybody tells me.
I mean, it's one thing when your bill is like 300 pages and a small paragraph of that is this damaging to the country.
But that's how shit works, man. That's what we were talking about last week too. Is that if they want to get something passed, attach it to a bill that of something that everybody wants. There's something that they know is going to have to get passed in order to keep things going. And little do people know, they don't read the fine print. That's how things like NDAA and all this shit gets passed.
These problems can be solved by just doing one thing. They're multifaceted problems, man. It's up to both the people to get informed and for us to actually move forward and to pressure our constituents.
Not even just pressure our constituents, also be a much smarter consumer as well, because I'm looking at the list right here of people that use Monsanto products, and boy, is it a huge list.
Give it to me.
Of every day. Oh, we got Aunt Jemima, Quaker, Betty Crocker, Pepperidge Farms, Post, Kellogg's, General Mills.
General Mills. Do you know how big that damn company is? Sorry, go ahead.
Pillsbury, Pop Secrets, Pringles, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. All these use Monsanto.
Corn syrup.
Yeah, all these companies use Monsanto products, and they're everywhere. I've heard this one saying that if you're gonna go shopping in a supermarket, do not even look at the middle aisles. Check the outside parts, I guess, which is the deli, the vegetable.
You got a little section. Brazilian section, and shit, like the little areas.
It's like
chorizo.
Yeah. This is an astronomical list of everyday products that we use every day that uses Monsanto products, and if we start weaning ourselves off of these things, Monsanto's going to start getting the message because their profits aren't coming in. So
guess what? They spend tens of millions of dollars in lobbying in Congress every year. So they're not going to go down without a fight. Look at what just happened. Do you think that they're like, no, not the real deal? They are. They've got politicians in their pocket clearly, and they're going to keep on doing this unless we do something about it. Or we all just, if you guys
need any more information, go ahead and hit us up on the email, Twitter, all the social media outlets that we have out there. We will definitely help you guys out. Like I said, we have a whole list of representatives and senators and the people who we have the contact information for the people that helped write the legislation for it to get in here. We have the White House information as well. If you guys need these sort of things, we got them. If you want to ask for them, send us some messages. We'll definitely try to get you that information as quickly as we possibly could.
And we'll post up the important ones on our actual Twitter page, the ones that correspond with this episode, so people can find them easily.
Absolutely.
Most importantly, just get involved. I mean, I'm tired of seeing people just, TV's on. I'm not going to get involved with anything.
No, we're giving you phone numbers and emails, and you should definitely use them to the best of your advantage. Definitely do that.
This is very fundamental stuff right here. I mean, we're talking about food and human rights.
If we're going to get this country back on track, we have to take initiative to do this stuff, because no one's going to fix it but us.
No, of course.
And it's a daunting task, because that's where I have often had the struggle. Is you look at the size of this government, you look at what's happening, and you say, what change am I really going to be able to make? And even just living the lifestyle that you see fit, and the lifestyle that you would like others to lead, and just do what you can. It's always the little things that other people pick up on, and maybe if they see that you're cool and you've got a good perspective on something, that it could rub off on them, and they might try and live their lives in a more positive, harmonious way.
Oh, this guy's cool as shit. I'm gonna call my senator.
Well, I mean, dude. Well, here's. I know that Vic's got a ton of numbers and everything, but you can call the congressional switchboard, 202-224-3121, or President Obama, 202-456-1111. I'm sure that's his cell phone.
Yeah, he usually picks up after the third ring.
Yeah, that's probably going to go.
Are we still playing basketball with the Prez on Thursday?
Yeah, I think so.
Word.
Tell him that you want to veto.
The jet come get us.
Tell him you want to veto Bill H.R. 933. Senator Roy Blunt worked behind closed doors with Monsanto. Fuck that guy. Blow his shit up. Republican of Missouri.
By blow this shit up, he means to contact him frequently via his telephone number.
Yeah, we should keep on clarifying. Me and Vic need to get
this
shit to
ghetto
our heads.
vernacular.
Senator Barbara Mikulski from Maryland, Senator Debbie Stabenow, and Senator Mark Pryor I believe Stabenow from Michigan and Pryor's from Arizona. They all worked to basically slip this rider into this bill without the appropriate review by the agricultural or judiciary committees. So, fuck them.
And just to help out with that, the people that voted yes and that represent people in Florida, Senator Bill Nelson, Democrat of Florida, he voted yay on this. His phone number is 202-224-5294. And Marco Rubio, Republican, voted no on that, so you guys can go ahead and leave him alone, or or at least send him a message as thank you for at least that.
Tell him to chill with the water bottles.
Did you guys see the mouth noises video on YouTube for Marco Rubio?
I remember him being made fun of, him like taking the sip of water. From, like,
that guy! I remember him.
But
that guy, exactly.
But and also in the House of Representatives, Democrat Corrine Brown of Florida, 202-225-0123. She voted yes. Democrat Lois Frankel, 202-225-98990. She voted yes. Republican Jeff Miller, 202-225-4136. He voted yes. Democrat Patrick Murphy, 202-225-3026. Republican Daniel Webster, 202-225-3026. And Republican C.W. Bill Young, 202-225-5961. These are the representatives that voted yes. So go ahead, call them as frequently as possible, and complain as much as you can about the fact that, they should have not been doing this, and that they had no clue that this was even in there, that they should be a lot more informed on the things that matter to us.
Yeah, and if you, honestly, I think that we all think that this is so important. If you honestly are going to listen to this and hear the things in the news and not get motivated by it, then I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, this is pretty important stuff. This is our livelihood. This is our future. And you know what? If you want to go through life and just say, what am I going to be able to do? I can't do anything, and just try and be happy and live in La La Land, then good for you. I kind of respect that in a way too, but I think that you should probably get involved. Well, I respect people not for their inaction, but for trying to focus on themselves and just live a harmonious life themselves and not get involved. I get like a neutral lifestyle, but I think that oftentimes those are the same people that bitch and complain about the state of the world.
Pretty admirable qualities, like North Korea.
Yeah.
Just focusing on themselves.
Yeah, but I think, we need to get involved. What'd you say?
North Korea, huh?
Oh,
That's
okay,
yeah. Jeffrey.
Yeah.
I like that.
Speaking
North
of
Korea
pests,
talk over
no,
there.
we're talking about honeybees. I want to talk about honeybees real quick before we got into North Korea, dude.
Oh, you ruined my segue. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks, bro.
Sorry, bro. Sorry, dude.
You gotta get to the honeybees.
But you're the one who brought up the honeybees.
It's a good point. We rely on honeybees for a lot of stuff that we don't realize.
Like Cheerios.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, Cheerios.
All this, the pesticide spraying is killing off all the bees, and if all the bees die, then our shit won't get pollinated correctly, and a lot of species will die out, and a lot of our food that relies on honeybee.
Yeah,
that occurs naturally.
Yeah.
Sorry, we derailed there. For
No,
a
it's cool.
second, but good point, Jeff. I know that, like you said, dude, these things are dropping, for lack of a better term, like flies.
And we're still like figuring out stuff about them too. It's not like, oh, we know what the honeybee does. Like just this week, we figured out that honeybees communicate through electric fields. Like they generate a electric field around them as they flap their
I thought they
little bee
communicated
wings.
like with like dancing.
Yeah,
Isn't that
but
one of the ways?
apparently they also connect these magnetic fields around them, and they relay information about stuff, where to go, what to lick.
Yeah, but the basic nature of a bee also is that it, the whole cross-pollination thing, like it helps, spread the seed of the
Spread that seed, son.
Exactly. I mean, you kill off them, then there's not going to be as much plants being spread out through fields and things of that nature. Also, I mean, these things have a lot of effect. It's kind of like a whole domino thing.
Crops rely on them.
Exactly. So I mean,
you mean like an ecosystem, something like that?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of those things that, like, when one thing goes down, then the rest of it starts to follow it, and then the end result is we're all going to suffer for it. I mean,
just an example: apples, cherries, watermelons, onions, almonds. These all depend heavily on honeybees and Fewer bees means smaller harvests and higher food prices.
Don't worry, guys. When the honeybees die out, Monsanto will take care of all of your plant needs. We got your,
by the way, I'm
genetically engineered potatoes.
I think we brought this up, but the reason we're talking about honeybees is, companies like Monsanto, they're spraying it with neon cotinoids.
If you can't pronounce it, you know it's bad.
They're used to be exactly. They used to treat 94% of all cornfields in the U.S. And these pesticides permeate the corn plants and manifest in the pollen, nectar, and water bees rely on as a key protein source. So you fuck with that, you're fucking with the bees, you're fucking with our harvest, you're fucking with our food prices.
You're fucking with America.
Yeah, dude. And wouldn't that be a funny byproduct that, oh man, food prices would have to go up? What a shame.
Surprise, surprise.
And all getting fucked up.
They're getting higher?
They're getting fucked up by these pests. Speaking of pests, North Korea, dude.
Nice one.
These motherfuckers. I know, that was so painfully bad. That was so painfully bad.
We will accept your segue.
Thanks, guys.
Jeff's instead.
Segue
Let's
accepted.
use Jeff's.
The host with the most.
Yeah, dude. Okay. North Korea, I don't know. They're saying that they're in a state of war with South Korea. Somebody else want to talk about this before I do? No?
You know,
I was just gonna try to make a joke about the movie we saw the other day.
Oh my god! Yeah, they're gonna come.
Fallen. They're gonna send their terrorists over to.
What am I even thinking? I don't want to be spoiler alert. Fuck that. Okay, these crazy ass North Koreans are flying on a bomber plane like right into Washington D.C. Like that would ever fucking happen. And it's so hilarious. They've got them in like these helmets and like the blacked out visors, and they're just sitting there like all stone cold face like this, flying by the White House, shooting it out of gunshot, like shooting out of the side of the bomber,
like it's 1945.
Yeah, shit. Dude, and they've got all these like, I guess these F-22s come flying up, and they're trying to shoot them, but all they've got those flares just to spew out, so they're straight. They're gonna make a few more circles around the White House and tear it up, and a bunch of guys in like bandanas and hoodies just take over the White House.
Terrorists.
They just knock over that wall in the front, that little fence, and they just walk right in. They just shoot people, just like, you know.
It's
like
that easy, Brian.
Dude, they had what was it? 2 sanitation trucks with freaking with torque guns in there, man. It was just.
Well, back to the real world.
Yeah, this did not really happen.
I really think that, I mean, America is baiting North Korea out to do something, because I mean, we've got so much military muscle and nobody to shoot with it, but we've got plenty of people to shoot with it. But
I mean, that border, dude, that's what the most heavily guarded border on the planet.
Yeah,
South Korea and North Korea.
In a lot of ways, it reminds me of the East and West Berlin conflict, and when the wall fell, they unified and they were a stronger country for it. I think that this could definitely happen in North Korea too. I mean, the North would be, of course, culture shocked at first, but it'd be a really good source of cheap labor, and Samsung and would take over, be the new Apple, and Kia would be the next Mercedes-Benz. So I don't know.
And now we'd have an entire other nation of StarCraft players to contend with.
Oh man,
dude, you know what's crazy is I have a buddy who's in the Air Force, and he just got shipped over to South Korea, and I don't know the base, so I'm not going to be, you know, providing any sensitive information here. But supposedly the base where he's going is beyond like the line of return or whatever. So if something goes down, they already told him and his entire base that they're like fucked. They're just gonna have to sit and fight it out until.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whatever
so
happens.
yeah,
whatever
happens. Nobody's coming for you. So if you can make it out alive, like after you've done your job, then good for you.
Was he deployed on the USS Freedom?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, that shit is pretty crazy. If you think about putting yourself in that type of environment, which very quickly, his name's, we call him Scuba Steve. He's a cool dude. He just found this little Korean girl that he's going out with, and they're like in love. He's been there like a month and a half. It's fucking hilarious. But so good for him on that. But it's yeah, dude, that's crazy. Be able to say that, you know, have to say you're in a situation where if something goes down, you're toast. So it's not exactly best circumstances for anybody around there. And those, like, again, that border, the most heavily guarded border on the planet.
Well,
and
what worries me most is if we do start preparing military action for North Korea, what does that say about everything else that we're already doing in the military, like say in the Middle East?
Oh, that's been prepared, man. They're ready to go. They're ready to. They got their finger on the button for the missiles. Fires the missiles.
People don't realize, like, for 60 years, basically, they've been sitting there in this really, like, intense, like, highly frictional state, south of North Korea. Basically, after, like, all these millions of people died, they basically agreed to kind of chill, and they're still in this, like, this designated demilitarized zone. And
why are people so hell bent on killing each other?
You live in one town over.
It's a deep part of human nature that we can't avoid, no matter how much we think about it. This deep down, people want to fuck each other up, and they like watching people fuck each other up.
Well, I agree with the second. Well, I personally, I have the second part, but I don't want to fuck anybody up.
What's crazy is look at how
it's our animal self.
How much better off South Korea is than North Korea right now.
Nationwide free nationwide Wi-Fi.
South Korea is
their internet speed is off the chain.
They're the 15th largest economy in the world, and North Korea is still like working with rotary phones and shit.
The good news is they don't have much pollution, but they don't really have much infrastructure to cause any pollution.
That's because they haven't invented anything that can cause pollution.
This is true.
Dennis Rodman.
And we're hungry.
Dennis Rodman is going over there,
Secret,
like, rubbing elbows with him. Which, actually, I heard that the dude Shane Smith and Vice were the ones that sent Rodman over there.
I
and
believe
there's
it.
going to be some, like, documentary or something.
The Vice documentary of Inside North Korea was really good. You guys should check that out at home.
Yes, if you guys don't know about Vice, talk about, like, pretty credible news source, and they are not going to, filter all the shit. They're going to give you some real info, and they're really kind of leading that movement. And
it's great. I mean, it's a new media movement, really. I mean, they just give someone a camera, they put them out in this situation, and tell them to go find the story themselves. It's
hey, do my job for me, and then come back, and I'll make money off of it.
Yeah, but it's not like. I think that their head's in the right place.
Yeah, it shows a more realistic view of what's happening instead of a Associated Press clip or like a quote from some guy that's behind a desk 3,000 miles away.
That was by no means a commentary on the actual quality.
No,
of
yeah, I know.
Actual documentary.
Yeah, dude. Well, either way, so that shit is that's just madness, dude.
Like, North Korea's gonna get fucked up. Like, why would would they even attempt to attack United States of America?
Hubris.
I think that they're trying to basically use that's why they're putting all this money into. They think that if they prove that they're a nuclear threat, that somebody will give them like some
that's
respect.
what I'm thinking.
We've got the bombs. Give us food.
Yeah, exactly. That's not the best way to go about it.
They're gonna get wiped off the map.
Since Kim Jong-il died, there's a power vacuum. So now you have to establish that you're top dog, and essentially that's what he's trying to do. Unfortunately, it's like the kids in the kiddie pool. But I did read a story where they were like, well, Korea is no paper tiger. They're actually pretty powerful in their own right. But yeah.
Do you know how strong our R&D is? Like, our weapons development? We've got like whole branches of private corporations.
It's like, while they've been spending years like subjugating their people, we've been spending years.
We're like 20 years ahead of like all other countries as far as technological development.
Not only
as far
that,
as numbers and go ahead.
Not only that is like they're not even going to get to the home front either because they got to deal with our Pacific bases in the first. Yeah. I mean, it's a huge plan to try to take down the United States. If you're a country with military aspirations of that sort. It's like, dude, you got to go through us remotely first. If you can get past that and somehow get to the home front, oh man, we got a whole country full of people that don't want their guns taken, and
like
stupid. Like, we're gonna blow you up with nukes, and then what?
Apparently, they have a missile that theoretically could reach the United States.
And it'll get shot down before it even gets here.
Yeah, for real. But we just this week DARPA released information, which also I think it was just a big, hey, look at my giant balls kind of move. They released info about their one of their X-planes from DARPA, the HTV-2. It goes over Mach 20.
Mach 20.
Mach 20, dude. It's what is that? 13,000 miles per hour.
Yeah, what was that? 13, 14.
They said that they want to have a global delivery system for whatever That I mean, obviously
Yeah, I know
nuclear
what
weapons.
is, yeah.
But
Anywhere within an hour?
anywhere in the world within an hour.
That's madness, dude.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
I'm processing that one.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
man.
Think
holy
about
crap.
that. You know, I had this conversation a couple months ago with my cousin. I was like, dude, if they could make it where I could get from Florida, South Florida to New York in an hour, like if somehow they made it possible where you could make that trip in an hour, people would pay a premium and they'd be much more apt to do it because they'd be like, pardon me, you know, I could get there in an hour, dude. I'll be there like, all right, man, I'll see you in like, 2 hours. Go to the airport, get there.
I don't even think it would be the airport at that point because I mean planes can only fly so fast because like sound barriers and shit. What I think would be the best way to do it, which some people were like theorizing on how to like build this thing because it would be so expensive, but you would create a giant underground tube and you would suck out all the air, make a vacuum out of it, and have a high-speed train.
Like magnetic?
Yeah, like a maglev train that would just go from one point to another. And there's no friction from air, so you'd be able to achieve like hypersonic speeds on a train.
How do you handle the G's within the train?
You be a boss.
You stop being a bitch.
Dude, that's interesting.
It would be
Like
really cool.
underground,
Yeah,
you can eliminate the whole idea of like plane crashes,
Yeah.
or at least.
Granted, a hypersonic train crash would be pretty devastating.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you have to like make sure that nobody's in that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
But you wouldn't get too much traffic down there anyway, you know. But yeah, that would be kind of.
It would be so expensive.
Or you could just get in your Iron Man suit.
Yeah, but the Iron Man suit can only go Mach 3, though. I mean, it's a plane that goes Mach 20. That's
Yeah, dude.
Tony Stark has to upgrade after that one. So.
That leads us nicely into our next topics here, fellas. Arts and sciences.
You know, I don't think a segue works as well when you announce it.
Damn it!
Zing.
Fucked it up again, dude.
It's all good.
Burn!
This is
Get
our
my
segue
burn
into
cream out. Well, dude, I said that brings us nicely. Dude.
I'm just busting your balls.
I know, dude. I wouldn't have it any other way. Keep me honest, Jeff. All right, dude. VFX. I know Rico wanted to talk about that a little bit. Philip K. Dick. Something that's just got a lot of movies coming out this week.
Not only a lot of movies, but a lot of
this
really good science
year,
fiction
sorry.
movies.
Yeah.
Like
They're
the
all
most,
over the place.
yeah, like the most science fiction movies I've ever seen released in 1 year.
Yo, Oblivion looks nice. I was watching this video and how they were doing the VFX shit. They actually went to, I don't remember the country, but I'm just gonna say New Zealand. They went to like on top of the mountains and actually had a film crew set up and filmed the entire sky and the sunset and everything like that for an extended period of time. And they had on the set of Oblivion, they had screens set up around there, so they had the natural light of the recorded atmosphere as like part of the backdrop for the special effects. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I like that.
I said that was for Oblivion?
Yeah, that's the Tom Cruise one, right? With the weird plane and
Yeah,
Morgan
Tom
Freeman.
Cruise and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, that
that'll
shit
probably
looks
be one of the more visually impressive movies of the year.
Is that the one based off the video game?
No,
No, it's not.
That's Elder Scrolls, and that has nothing to do with Tom Cruise.
I'm looking forward to World War Z, man. I think that shit looks fucking awesome.
That looks kind of. I never read the book.
Maybe
What's
I'm
it
just a
about?
Brad Pitt like Homer, dude. I think that guy is like great. Man.
I don't think it's going to compare to the book, man. Max Brooks' World War Z. That book was amazing. Like the narrative, setting up these scenarios and the taking people's different points of view. If it just follows Brad Pitt the whole time, it won't capture the essence of what the book was about.
Well, I hope that they don't do that. Or
This is Hollywood.
Yeah, I was about to say they're gonna Hollywoodify it.
I know it. He did it with his production company too, Plan B or whatever. So there's a chance it could be like a Brad Pitt overload. But
Yeah, man. But there's a lot of movies that are coming out that I was really excited about. Just to name a few, real quickly, Oblivion's coming out. Iron Man 3's coming out in May.
Yeah.
The new Star Trek movie.
They called me a
It's a
teacher.
cow.
The Will Smith Jaden Smith combo flick.
After Earth.
Directed by
looks
M.
really
Night
good.
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan.
Yeah, we got
Oh, is it? Oh, that,
the Superman reboot comes out. Man of Steel, World War Z, of course, and one that I'm super excited about. Fucking Pacific Rim.
Yeah, that looks-
Yes!
that's
Oh,
awesome.
it looks
Yes.
so good. Guillermo del Toro.
Giant mechs fighting aliens. Oh my god!
I don't know if you can go wrong with that.
Dude, in there, Idris Elba cancels the apocalypse, so there's no going wrong with that. So I can't wait to see that fucking movie.
Also
man.
coming up, Wolverine, the Wolverine prequel.
That looks kind of interesting. It's like a secret reboot, which is something I like about it. So I hope that one goes well.
300 is also getting a prequel, also a movie
Really?
coming out.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Rise of an Empire. That's gonna be hopefully that's gonna be pretty cool.
Is Gerard Butler still the lead?
I'm not sure about that one, but I'd have to look into that. But yeah, I mean that prequel to 300. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
300 fans.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
One
man.
coming out at the end of the year.
Yeah,
too.
the list keeps
Really?
going on,
This
man.
year? Hell yeah.
We got
That's right, Thor and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Jeff mentioned Wolverine.
Thor is
Oh,
the
yeah.
Thor is the Dark World storyline with the Dark Elves and shit. So that should be good.
Just to finish up this list I had real quick, Elysium, Neil Blomkamp directed District 9. He's coming out with a new movie. That looks excellent. Very highly political science fiction movie. Also, the Thor, you mentioned Thor. We got the second Hobbit, a movie
That's
called...
this year, too?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
this
they're
year.
doing it similar to the last trilogy, I believe, that they're coming out with one every December.
Oh.
And there's going to be a third one, I believe, too. They're making a whole other trilogy.
There's also gonna be a new Sin City also this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
Who's directing that one? Is it still Rodriguez?
Yep.
Nice.
Dude, that's visually, I bet
Nice.
that's...
So huge box office this year. That's
Yeah.
gonna be nuts.
Dude,
So
I wanted
lots
to...
of science fiction, lots of taking down the government for some reason. There's like that movie called White House Down, I think, with like
Yeah.
Channing Tatum. It's like,
Ridiculous.
What's up with that, man? It's like,
That's propaganda, man.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
that stuff is propaganda.
it's so ridiculous. It's like just like you said, so much of this like destroy the government or like science fiction. Why is so much of that coming out in such a short period of time? It's ridiculous.
I don't know, man. That's fishy. But this something I want to read this book. I think I'm gonna go online and order it. The Ender's Game you were telling me about.
Oh
'Cause
yeah,
I
Ender's
finally-
Game too. That's coming out this year
Dude,
as well.
that I just saw a couple of stills because I wanted to check it out. First of all, Harrison Ford's in it, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
So what?
It's a pretty accurate impression.
Of Harrison Ford.
But dude,
No.
that looks like it's gonna be pretty bad. As far as science fiction movies go, that looks like it's gonna be.
And
sick.
a great book too. You
I
definitely
want to
it.
read that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go buy that tonight.
Ender's Game. What's it about?
Basically, well, I mean, I'll let Jeff tell you about because he
Child
actually knows
soldiers
more about
From
it.
the future.
But I mean, it's in supposedly the not too far off future. This alien race called to have an attack on Earth. I guess if not for dude, I don't know about it. I've got like this little thing that I kind of made notes. Ben Kingsley's in it, Harrison Ford's in it. Now I'm just gonna give you actors, nothing about the actual thing. But I guess there's a military. They're training the best young minds to find like the future badass soldier. But they recruited this young little dude, and it's all about like them trying to train like these young soldiers, and I think madness ensues from there. I know that that's a horrible description, but
And
No,
you
I
asked.
like it.
And way to let Jeff describe it like you claim you were going
well,
to.
when I did,
It's all good.
it looked like he didn't have anything prepared, so that's why I just.
This is
Oh, he's prepared.
You
let's
weren't
pick
looking,
on Brian
dude.
Day today.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I'm pretty pumped. I think there's gonna be a lot. I'm a movie buff, so I'm happy to be talking about this shit. Kind of off subject. Oh, dude, Anchorman 2 is coming out. I know that's not sci-fi, but fuck it. I want to talk about that.
Going back to sci-fi though, I think we didn't say one movie that I think I'm really excited about the sequel to the Star Trek Into the Darkness.
Darkness.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
dude. And that's what that's really cool. And
I'm really excited because I love the first one. The first one was great.
Yeah.
I mean, I was never a huge Star Trek fan. I caught a few episodes here and there, but I enjoyed them when I was a kid. But watching the first remake, I thought it was a great movie. So for there to be the second one, the sequel coming out this year, I really want to see it. I'm actually gonna go to the theaters and watch that one.
I was a fan of the movies. I never got into any of the shows. I was never really like a Trekkie. But this last one, even if you haven't seen like a Star Trek movie or any of the old shows, if you go and see this last one that came out, it's very
You
entertaining.
should anyway because it was directed by J.J. Abrams and he is.
If
the
you're
beast.
a Star Wars fan, you
Yeah.
can get a little insight into maybe what he'll be bringing to.
He did what is it?
8mm?
No,
that was
movie 8.
Super 8.
Oh,
Super
Super
8.
8. Yeah.
There you go.
That was a
Super
great
8.
movie.
go.
Yeah, and Cloverfield. So yeah, he's good on those big budget sci-fi.
That movie pissed me the fuck off. Dude, Super 8, are you kidding me? All those kids running around with all that military ordnance going.
It was a good movie, dude. It was a good
They would have been
movie.
blown the fuck in half.
Yeah, I agree
probably
it was a
would've.
good movie, but I agree with Jeff as well. They were the world's luckiest kids.
It was completely unrealistic.
They were
but
just like, oh, I'm just gonna.
it was
run
like
by
a
this shrapnel
yeah,
exploding.
a high def ET.
Well, dude,
You
was
know-
Goonies realistic? But that's like one of my favorite movies.
But
ever.
Goonies never die, so
Yeah,
that doesn't matter.
that's a basic rule.
You know what I want to happen in either a Star Trek or a Star Wars? I want Neil deGrasse Tyson to make an appearance. Like that would be awesome.
Speaking of Neil
Yes.
deGrasse Tyson, a new Cosmos series is coming out. You know, Cosmos from the great Carl Sagan.
Nice.
He's gonna
Yes,
be
I heard about
he's gonna be
that.
hosting a new series
How
of
badass
Cosmos.
is that?
And
That's
also,
sick.
the
Pretty excellent.
NASA did a Kickstarter to get more people interested in space science, so they're going to be putting it in front of the new Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
NASA
trying to
needs
get
our
some-
NASA needs our support more than anything else. I think that's government funded. I mean, they discovered. I mean, they're not just space exploration. They discover a lot of science stuff, like things that are related to science. They discover it for the most part, and you know, that's one of those programs. Like I said, you could say whatever you want about the space program itself, but NASA should not go away. I mean,
I saw this really, really awesome picture on. I don't remember the name of the website. I'll try to find the link and put it up. But it basically had a 360 shot of the Mars rover, and you could like scroll around and look and see what it sees and stuff. And
Was that the super high res one?
Yeah, that's the
was
one.
it 2 billion pixels or whatever
yeah,
they said? Man, technology.
it was really cool looking. I mean, yeah, it just looks like, you know, rocks and clouds, but it's still awesome because it's another planet, or at least that's what I choose to believe anyway.
Yeah, dude.
But it's great how these like modern day space programs and stuff like take
man.
a vision of our media and our movies from like old times, and they interpret it and they develop it into real life.
into real shit.
Like
That's cool.
these visionaries back then, they created what they thought what the future would be, and the scientists and
like
engineers
Sid Mead,
of today.
man.
Yeah, Sid Mead was amazing. One of my favorite artists. He was the Blade Runner concept artist. And
Robert
He-
Zemeckis and Back to the Future did a
Yeah.
pretty good job too.
yeah.
Yeah.
man.
If
I
you like
mean-
high tops and hoverboards.
Yeah.
Well, dude, they had a lot of stuff that in that movie that actually came to be. Like some of it's kind of far fetched, but
Well, it is really cool though. I mean, to take from a line from Thor real quick, it's awesome how, you know, some of these these science fiction ended up being precursors to science fact eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, it just goes to show the creativity of human beings and, you know, where it could lead if once it's harnessed, and, you know, it's great.
something that they did have in Back to the Future. Remember when they had those little glasses on? And they were like answering the phone and like, Dad, it's for you.
Oh, Google
Pre-
Glass.
Google Glass.
Google Glass, it's coming soon.
Dude,
I
that
actually,
Google Glass scares the shit out of me. Just for the potential of like monitoring your activities
Yeah,
and like
man.
always on kind of shit that you don't realize. You know,
But
like I'm taking a
that's,
shit
I
and like
hate the
Look
fact
at
that you
it
have
as
to worry about that.
a gift and a curse, though. You know, it's a double-edged sword because you'd never ever need to worry about an alibi ever again because you got your Google Glass on.
yeah, but that's the whole thing. It's like, well, if you lead an honest life, then you got nothing to worry about. But
but privacy is important.
Yeah,
Like,
man, what
nobody
if
wants
you're-
to have their life on blast like that.
yeah,
Unless
plus
you're
if you
obsessed
have
with Twitter.
constant monitoring of your location and you're like not at home and people can see like you're not at home, they'll go jack your shit while you're gone. I don't know.
Yeah, I was watching this on I think it was at the radio station. There was Channel 7 segment about people get robbed and shit because they leave their shit on, so robbers know they're not home and they just go and run and take their shit.
Yeah. Well, you know that they're already selling information to companies from our webcams because they're starting to take pictures. Have you heard about this, Jeff?
No.
Basically, companies with the webcams or even like PlayStation, Xbox, stuff like that, they're selling our photos to companies so they can better gear our advertisements.
Well,
So say that Jeff right here has a webcam set up. They take a picture of his room. They can see, oh, dude, this guy is into recording equipment and art and this and that. So we are going to hone in on what we want to push on Jeff. We're not going to push feminine haircut products or something or, Venus.
Yeah, Google already does that with your email and your Google searches.
Yeah, it's a good thing they don't have a webcam in my bathroom.
Or do they?
But dude, think
Oh,
about
God.
that. If you've got a laptop with a webcam built in on the top, it is very, very possible that there is a photo being taken of you, or there has been, and it's been sold to a corporation in order to better know how to.
So you're saying corporations have, you know, footage of me jerking off to porn then?
No, yes. But the NSA does.
Yeah, the NSA.
Yeah, that's why on my webcam, like a paranoid nut, it's like pointing face down on the.
Don't trust them.
Yeah, it's like pointing face down on the desks when I'm not using it.
I have a lot of friends who actually take like a Post-it note and put it on top there, which honestly, it's not a bad idea.
But can you imagine all the cool shit that's going to be recorded too? I mean, look at all the stuff that comes out of Russia from just them having dash cams on every car.
Wasn't there a South Park episode where they showed this guy sitting behind all these like surveillance cameras, and he just had like this bucket of lotion, and he was just like, and they made disgusting. All these, and he's just staring at everybody. I mean, I don't know. I think that there has to be something that warrants them actually looking into that. But what if they do have the ability just to peek in if they see fit or whatever? That's very strange, man.
Well, I mean, they do though. That's the thing. I think even just everyday citizens have been able to hack into people's webcams, you know, via the internet and be able to watch people. I mean,
but this new facility in Utah that is supposed to store all of our our information, all the data. Which now it's crazy. I heard this crazy stat the other day that every 2 days we are generating as much data as there was in the entire recorded history of man up until the year 2010, or it was 2000. So think about that. As much information has been generated in all the time that we've been on Earth, that is getting multiplied every 2 days, and I'm sure that will be a day like next year.
I mean, back in the day, it was so much easier to keep track of people with like telephones and stuff. But now the influx of information, nobody can sit through that and sift through it by themselves. That's absurd.
That's so much. So
leave it all to the computers, guys. Don't worry.
They're going to store it, and if they see fit, it'll be stored, and they can grab it if they want anything that you put on Facebook. I mean, dude, oh my God, Facebook, that's a whole other subject.
I don't have a problem if there's probable cause and they're like looking into someone's history or something, and they have a warrant to do so. But if they're just collecting it before the fact and just saying, oh, well, we haven't looked at it yet, and when we need to, we'll look at it. Like, I don't agree with that.
You. Give my
we
shit.
need a warrant.
Canada,
we need proper.
You need a warrant to look at people's emails.
We need proper jurisdiction and legislation behind new technologies that come out.
We're going to make people sign terms of agreements that they're not going to read. Another crazy stat. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but they said on a 5-day, 8-hour-a-day week schedule, it would take us 85 days a year to read through all the terms and conditions that we actually agree to. So who's going to actually sit and do that for 3 months and read through that? Not going to happen. So there are things that every one of us are signing off on without really thinking twice about it. And who knows what we're really giving them the right to do or signing away our rights.
The human centipede.
And that is by design, by the way. That's fucking by design. So be careful. But yeah, dude, Google Glasses, man. That's crazy. And Google cars. Think about we'll be able to like sync up our Google Glasses and our Google cars and just fucking hop right in our car and it'll drive us to work. We'll just tell it where to go.
I don't know if I like having one company have that much power.
That is oof.
Is Google the actual Skynet? Are they playing us to be like this nice benevolent company that once they amass the correct amount of information?
Great.
Wasn't their tagline something like a company that does no wrong or some shit like that?
And they're coming out with a whole movie about Google where Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson are like interns.
Oh no.
And it's literally just nothing but Google. They're like at the Google facility working there as interns.
So it's like a 2-hour advertisement.
Yeah, basically. So
I don't know. I think Google Glasses are like one step closer to cyborgs. Like we're gonna have like body implants and artificial limbs and stuff.
That sounds awesome. I can't wait.
I just wonder if Google Glasses is gonna have any like negative like health effects to it. I mean, freaking constantly having like.
Vic, who cares, bro? Seriously, like who cares? I have the future in my face. I don't care about side effects.
He just downloaded that freaking app and now he's having a seizure, so it's okay.
You're right though, man. Like. Who's to say that there aren't serious side effects to having a Wi-Fi receiver on your temple?
Absolutely.
For crying out loud.
Absolutely.
Or even worse, who knows, man? What if somebody actually figures out a way to actually just kind of messes up through the kind of thing, like just an actual neurological attack through the appliances that we have.
Or you take them over,
hacking, or even brain downloading. What if someone starts downloading your
or control them remotely? You know, like.
I'm interested to see how these flexible smartphones like work out and how they're gonna be able to, first of all, develop that technology. Which to me, I mean, it just goes to show you that like we really don't know the things that we're using and we're going to use to be able to put them together and be able to innovate that. The things that these people are doing is fucking amazing. Like they're coming out, I guess I saw some prototype for an iWatch where it's basically an iPhone on your wrist.
The iPod Nano?
Huh?
Is it the iPod Nano?
No, it's like a wraparound watch that you can like unfold. Like you remember those old slap bracelets?
Hell yeah, I remember slap bracelets.
Yeah. Dude, by the way, that was the first gift I ever bought for a girl. Was a snap bracelet. I was like, oh my god.
They banned them from my school for cutting people's wrists.
That's hilarious, dude.
What's a flexible smartphone like?
It's like, did you see the finale to Weeds?
Yeah.
Remember those phones that they were using? They're like
that's a flexible
phone?
Yeah.
You can like bend them. It's basically like a sheet of plastic, and you can just. They're developing this technology now where you can. It's like a smartphone. I don't know how they're going to do it seriously, but that's what's crazy about how they're developing this graphene, and it basically can conduct electricity and be able to display images and all this flexible material. That pretty soon we're going to be having all this flexible and they're electronic paper is another one that they're developing where like this having paper around do you remember Harry Potter, how the newspapers were in Harry Potter where they just showed like it looked like GIFs that were moving and shit. It's gonna be like that except the paper. It's gonna change the way that we do everything.
I don't know. I look at that stuff as more of a fad, like a stepping stone into better technology. Like nobody wants a set boundary of
space to write on.
Yeah, like a piece of paper with graphics on it.
Just the fact that that's even fucking possible.
It's pretty mind blowing. But you look at our science fiction movies again, just to touch back on the movie stuff.
Yo, I can't wait till we have like the Iron Man shit where you have the floating computer screen where you can manipulate the objects in 3D space with your hands.
That's what I'm saying. Like our science fiction and our visionary creatives behind it.
Great.
Yeah, that's another one. They dictate our design for the future. Like you get cool ass designs and like holograms.
That's one of the only reasons why I was ever excited about Xbox Connect, because I was just like, this is stupid and you're just copying Louis, but I can't wait to see how this technology is properly utilized in like 5 years.
Dude. Like 3D printing. I actually kind of want to see how people use 3D printing in later
that is the wave of the future, man. Once people start getting their own like in-home 3D printers to print out the mundane shshit, there's so many. Industry will change.
They're already printing out stem cells. They're printing out stem cells. They got bioprinting, which they're going to be printing.
That's pretty
body parts and organs
and skin for like skin grafts.
Yeah, I was seeing the skin graft.
That's
one,
amazing.
One to like a skull graft as well.
Oh, the guy that had his skull replaced, like half his skull.
That's fucking crazy, man.
It fucking blows my mind.
And if you don't know what 3D printing is, for anybody who's hearing about this for the first time, it's basically a three-dimensional solid object that you're printing out of virtually any shape from a digital model. So it basically feeds whatever material you're using into the machine, and it prints it out layer by layer. Anything, dude, from tools like to even fashion and like jewelry. Like think about all the customization and cool things that you can do on your own.
Well, to be able to print things with complex moving parts or some stuff simple like tools like a screwdriver or something.
Very complex moving parts. If you guys look online, go YouTube it.
You can 3D print a 3D printer. That's how awesome this shit is.
That's really funny. And they're literally they're getting to the point now where they're trying to develop these massive printers to build buildings.
And cars.
And concrete cars. You can even print a sad Keanu Reeves.
I
saw that shit online, dude. I was crying, laughing. They had a sad Keanu Reeves that somebody printed out.
What kind of impact is that going to have on like the labor industry? It's gonna
change everything.
It's gonna revolutionize the game.
Change the game.
And clothes, they have this 3D printer for clothes. You can actually pick out a thing. I saw this whole video on it online. Shoes, people are printing out guns and tools and shit like that. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Just if I ever have a daughter in a 3D printer, man, and I'm just like, I'm gonna just scare every single one of her boyfriends and see while you're taking her out, I'm printing a bunch of AKs.
I'm gonna have like 4 or 5 guns by the time you get back.
But you better back on time.
But this is what's going to be interesting is how they're going to manage that in the intellectual property, because people get their
you can't
hands,
manage it, man.
How are you going to be able to manage it? Because
the only way you're going to be able to manage it is by controlling the internet. And that's the only way. People are going to be sharing files and sharing printable guns and everything.
You thought
it doesn't
Napster
matter.
was a big deal.
Dude, for real. You think you can download a car? Well, bitch, I just did. You know, like,
yeah, man. And to think about that, that's actually a potential possibility. Couple that with shit like, you know, what we're doing with the Google glasses. And we were talking yesterday a little bit about like the genome sequencing. And they've got shit now where they can give... I believe it's DARPA was doing the test with the soldiers that they can inject them, and it pumps up their white blood cell count, where they literally don't have to take breaths. The oxygen is being generated within their body, so they could go 35, 45 minutes without even breathing. That is a very, very small example of what
Super
they're
soldier,
actually doing.
son.
Yeah,
Steve Rogers.
That's exactly
type.
what I was thinking
Yeah,
too.
dude, think about that. If you could have a soldier where he didn't have to breathe for an hour and he could just be chilling underwater with no equipment or anything or whatever. I mean, think about firefighters too. There's a lot of different applications.
you have a bunch of solid snakes running around.
Yeah, man. Or what? Even for recreational use, you could do some hella free diving on that shit.
Wow, yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. DARPA's doing some crazy ass shit right now, and they're trying to move closer to this brain interface, like with the technology, be able to cut out the middleman. And we're literally manifesting these technologies and ideas through our fingertips and generating them to where it makes everything. We're completely integrating ourselves with technology, which I think is fucking amazing. That we're inching towards that, where eventually we're going to be actually asking ourselves things like, is it worth, like, what if somebody came to you and was like, all right, I could give you, even though you have fully functional legs, you could get some robot legs, dude, and you could be like Cyborg Buddy, unstoppable, and you're sitting there actually outweighing the pros and cons.
Yes.
But dude, the fact, are you gonna be the first dude that does it?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
You get like the base model legs.
I will not be the prototype.
Thinking about getting middle legs, it's a risky operation, but it'll be worth it. Yeah, dude. I mean, that's crazy stuff, dude. I think it's so cool to be able to think. And literally, people are like, how are we getting to that place? All these guys, super intelligent, brilliant dudes, their imagination, and literally generating these things through their fingertips and the thing that we use as technology.
Kid on YouTube who made his own laser sight, and like he made his own like Iron Man attachment repulsor laser blast, and he was like burning shit with it on YouTube. And then there was like another person that made their own they made a light for their bicycle so that when they rode it, it not only showed the light in front of you, but it also displayed the speed that you were going to
on the ground. What, the projector?
Yeah,
that was interesting.
So cool.
Yeah, it's like you have lots of really, really creative and innovative people out there. It's just,
I can't help but just think of, you know, the possibilities that you can integrate any of these possible innovations with other things that we have. Like, say, you know, we was talking about the whole like white self count, where you can have the like. I could just imagine seeing like a phone app or something that will alert you before, like, you know, something major happens to your body, like a heart attack or something.
That's what we were gonna talk about, dude. This world's smallest blood monitoring implant tells your smartphone when you're about to have a heart attack.
That's crazy.
Basically, this team of scientists in Switzerland developed the world's smallest medical implant to monitor critical chemicals in the blood. Basically, it measures up to 5 indicators, including proteins, that show if and when a heart attack has occurred. Using Bluetooth, the device transmits the data to a smartphone for tracking. And they can also track levels of glucose, ATP, lactate, providing valuable data for monitoring.
Yeah, man, I can't wait till we have like HUDs or heads-up displays for our body and stuff, man, because that's basically what Google Ass is. It's just basically
Google Ass.
Google Ass. Yo, I want to get me some Google Ass.
Yeah, it's basically a heads-up display for everything you do. You know, you walk around and be like, have you ever played Deus Ex?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Human Revolution.
Yeah.
That was an awesome game, by the way.
No.
It's basically a futuristic tech game, but you understand does Call of Duty have a HUD? No,
Well, all games really have HUDs, but Call of Duty is a terrible example.
Well, there you go.
That
But yeah,
rehashed
it's
piece
just
of
that
shit.
you look at shit, it gives you a little detailed information on it. I look up, it is like gives me the temperature, what's it gonna be like today? You know, lets me know how to plan. That kind of stuff is future looks very well as far as technology goes.
Yeah,
It's
man,
awesome.
it's unreal. Now they're being able to, and something that I thought was cool, just to finish up this last one. Outside the body, a battery pouch provides 100 milliwatts of power that the device requires by wireless inductive charging through the skin.
Wow.
So it's literally your skin and your body heat and all that shit is what is charging the device. I think that's so fucking cool,
Pretty
man.
sweet.
So yeah, dude.
I'll take a DBZ Scouter any day.
DBZ. And dude, I was also looking at they've developed this invisible cloak. Have you seen this?
The Canadian
I've
company.
seen-
They're
I've seen
fucking
some of those.
Canadian company. And
Leave it to the Canadians to become invisible.
We're sorry, eh?
And since we're just on the topic of future topics, futurism, futurology, have you guys ever heard of Jason Silva? This guy is brilliant. He's got these little things that he calls philosophical shots of espresso. It's like these little 2-minute long videos all about imagination and the future and where we're headed. So cool. If you guys get a chance, go check out this dude, Jason Silva. He's actually pretty inspiring to listen to. He's very enthusiastic and positive and optimistic about our future and what we're doing. And he's just one of those dudes that you'd love to be around like all the time. Because the way shit's going, man, shit's popping off in a really big way. Our world is changing so rapidly, and we're just trying to adapt as humans. I think a lot of people are kind of lagging behind. Not to say that I'm not either. It's just trying to keep up, and the world is changing in such a rapid rate. I was having a conversation with my friend the other day at work about how Facebook adds this whole other element to relationships and makes it more difficult because you got all these eyes on you. Now, I'd like to say that you can, a sane person could either stay off Facebook or manage it. Don't get too serious on there. But the way that the world works now, you've got all these eyes on you. You're tagging yourself here. You've got pictures here.
It's like relationships aren't private anymore.
They're not. And it adds this whole other element of like insecurity and, you know, if somebody's got low self-esteem, not to mention that you're going on there and looking at everybody's highlight reel. And if somebody's really down in the dumps, like, man, you know, they're going through tough times and they go see everybody just posting the best moments of their life and they're documenting it and putting it on Facebook, then, it adds this whole other element that I think us as humanity, we still haven't figured out, and we are trying to figure it out now. And I'm curious to see how we can do it, because we are inching closer and closer towards full disclosure, openness, and transparency. And I think that I would like to maintain privacy. Like, I know that I'm like an outgoing person, but I'm ultimately very private and at the end of the day, and I'd like to be able to maintain that. I'm curious to see how we're going to be able to do that in the future with all this technology coming out and transparency and things changing.
And also it goes down to, certain legislation that could possibly go in. I mean, I know they're trying to fight hard, for to be able to control the information being put out on the internet. If it wasn't SOPA, it was CISPA, and so I mean, it's exactly what you're saying. I mean, I know to a certain extent we'd like to be private people, but the more that we start expressing ourselves on these sort of mediums is like basically giving you more of an avenue for people to just look into what you do and what what you're about. And
the power of social media is impressive, and it's scary too. Like the ability to crowdsource and just generate people, like complete strangers all around the world. Like,
that's so cool, though.
It's totally cool, but then you get stories like, I think there was some guy in London, he posted his information on 4chan or something, and he said he was having a party, and like so many people showed up, and I forget the details of the story, but there was so many people. The cops came, and the kid ended up like getting shot. I mean, you don't invite strangers to your house. Like, there needs to be that level of privacy.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be able to look at a picture, pull the EXIF data out, find the guy's address like a fucking internet detective and like.
But you wanted a Project X type party, son. Though.
Yeah, they're
Well, you get what you ask for.
A lot of sites, if you're going to register a domain or a website, you have to put your personal address on there. There's certain websites that don't do that, but a lot of them, like GoDaddy or whatever, if somebody's mad they don't like your website, they can find your personal address, all your personal information, even from something like that, registering a domain name.
I remember growing up, my dad always told me to never give out your social security, but it seems like ever since, like, I don't know, 2002, I've had to give my social security to how many companies now just to be able to get certain stuff.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but at the same time, though, it's like they make it yeah, but it's like you try to go ahead and change your cell phone plan, they're gonna be asking for it. They're gonna, you know, these things that we're supposed to keep to ourselves, we're just giving them out, and they're not really giving us a good reason to do it. But at the same time, apparently we can't do anything
without it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some weird shit surrounding Social Security and that number. Like, it isn't you. It is a an entity that is represented by you or some. It's so weird, the legal aspects surrounding the Social Security thing.
Yeah, because we are a stock being traded on Wall Street.
Yeah.
In case you don't know, look at your birth certificate on tiny little black letters, red letters. It's got a little serial number. Look it up.
I wasn't born here.
Yeah.
So you're not on the map.
You're not on the map. Yo, dude, take advantage of that. Take advantage of that.
Who knows what the future holds, man?
Honestly,
it's
man.
Scary and exciting at the same time.
Yeah. Portable laser
how it's
pens
supposed
that
to
can
be, man.
seal wounds. I saw that, dude.
What?
Portable laser pens that can seal wounds, like Wolverine style.
Fuck that. I
Imagine
want
if
portable laser pens that can open wounds.
Where's my
Like where your
lightsaber?
head's
For
at,
real.
dude. Yeah, man, but like even, you know, there's so many things that, again, it's the innovation you want to hope for that is going to, like the laser pen that seals wounds, that are going to help the quality of life rather than, you know, continuing to add all these bullshit regulations and fucked up things into our life and our everyday life, man. Screwed up. So anyway,
You know what I love about Ricardo's everyday life? His noisy neighbor.
Yeah.
I really wish you would have recorded some clips, man. Like, if you've never heard this crazy bitch in person, it is a sight to behold.
I
funny
have
thing
not.
is-
I've only heard about it.
The funny thing is, I haven't heard of this specific crazy bitch. I've been to Ricardo's plenty of times. I've heard many already outrageous crazy people. Like, so the fact that we're kind of being specific to one, I'm kind of interested in this one.
Oh, you haven't experienced her?
No,
yet?
I've heard of,
Me
like I
neither.
said, I've heard quite a few like loud ass people outside of your place. I don't know about this one.
Yeah. That's, well, yeah, I'm gonna go into this little thing. It's basically take care of your mental health, man, because that shit is important. You may not realize it now,
Tell us how you feel about it.
but it's very
Once you lose
important.
it, you don't get it back.
Yeah, lay
Exactly.
it on
For
them, dog.
example, I have a neighbor that I share a wall with, and she is pretty much gone off the deep end.
Horrible.
Yeah. Basically, these are facts that I know about her from her either telling, I guess she's drunkenly talking to someone on the phone, or when she just gets mad enough to yell them at the surrounding neighbors. Apparently, she was cheated on by her husband of 28 years.
Can't say I blame him.
That's what I was thinking too. The scumbags neighbors downstairs stole her bikes. Also, whenever she's
Can't say I blame him.
Sorry. Also, whenever she's angry, she can only refer to people by their racial slurs. Let me see.
Mental capacity at work.
She doesn't like noise of any kind, including casual conversation.
How ironic.
Yeah. I love that. That's the best part about her. When her means of getting people to be quiet is yelling out the window to shut up.
I'm not angry. Stop telling me I'm angry. I'm not yelling.
You're being so loud.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, so basically what happens is, and it's quite obvious that she's on a substance of some kind. I'm not really sure what it is, but she usually sounds like she's slurring
Bath
most of the time
salts.
when she's screaming. But my favorite part about her is that randomly throughout the night you'll hear either banging or screaming, and I'm not talking about like normal screaming. This is like blood curdling wails, like. And it's funny because sometimes she'll scream into her pillow, and other times she'll be like fighting with the neighbors around her. Like she'll be banging on the people downstairs, or banging on the other walls, and it's kind of interesting because it's like a roller coaster ride living next to her, because you never really know what's going to happen or like what's going on. Because sometimes it'll be just like random. It'll just be like a sharp bang. It was like boom, and you'd be like dead silence for like 20 minutes. Be like, oh, okay,
all right,
I guess that's it for now. And then all of a sudden it'll just be like, ah! Like it's terrible. So basically, long story short, don't end up old, alone, miserable, and screaming at your neighbors for stealing your
dude, being alone and miserable doesn't really like it doesn't automatically lead you to freaking mental illness, because
it starts.
Certainly helps it out.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, because the other a few weeks ago at work, I work at a Mexican restaurant, and I was bartending.
You would.
Yeah. And there's this one crazy lady that shows up, man, and she's just like, at first she's all friendly and nice about everything, and you know, she seemed like, at first I thought she was drunk. It sounded like she was drunk, but you know, she was like really happy, and like, oh, she would see some of the employees and be like, oh, I've been coming here since my son was born 14 years ago. Like, you know, like I said, real, you know, cool about everything. Asked for her margarita, gave it to her. She says, oh, this is a great margarita. Then, you know, I took her order.
Yeah, Vic does make a good margarita, that's for sure.
Yeah, he does. Dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, and then, you know, I take her she wanted to order something for takeout. I do that, and then when she gets her food and the bill is when she completely did this 180 on me, and like just started throwing everything and just had this hissy fit, and she's like, again, says the same exact thing that she said at the beginning, except in an angry tone. I've been coming here for 14 years since my son was, you know, I was just like, what the heck? The manager saw that I was a bit of trouble, so he came in here. He came by, you know, settled the lady down, and you know, let her leave. And I just like looked at him, going like, "Please tell me that's not the first time that happened." It's like with her, definitely not. And I'm just like, yeah. And I just think to myself, okay, she has a kid, which means some poor soul of a man out there actually, you know,
and she feels entitled.
Yeah, impregnated this woman, and just like. So the whole, you know, being alone and miserable thing, you know, doesn't really automatically mean you're gonna go crazy. This lady has apparently a loving family, and she's crazy.
If she's been going to this restaurant for 14 years, you think she'd be a little bit used to the prices by now?
I get that shit. And going along with what you guys are saying, I want to let Rico finish up. But that if you've got problems going on at work, don't bring it to the workplace, and vice versa. Like, don't bleed all over everybody, man or woman. Like, it's not like a very good attribute when you hear somebody just constantly complaining about things and trying to bring everybody down. They're pissed about the status of their life or what's happening to them, so they want to bring everybody down around them. And I think that it's so far much more of a good quality, and something that I notice when I see people having a good attitude about life and their own personal situation, even in the most trying of times, and being a positive person and building people up. If Rico was to say something really positive about Jeffrey and say, oh man, he's a good guy,
thanks,
to
bro.
me that would reflect much more better on you than you saying, oh man, fuck that guy and this and that. And what's even funnier is at my work at the radio station, I have this new girl that came in, and we are all friends. Like, we're like a little mini family at work. We try and look out for each other. And this girl is completely nuts, like completely batshit crazy. And she goes around to everybody and talks shit about everybody else, like trying to build these little mini alliances with people. And she comes to me talking about my friend, like, oh, isn't she like, I don't think that she's not like her, and like, screw her, blah, blah. And
I think
I'm like,
you guys
realize that I'm friends with her, right?
You guys should vote her off the island.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know, if you guys think that you're putting out like this energy, like, oh, you know, people just don't understand, or I'm getting fucked all the time, or my situation is shitty, for a brief moment, consider what you could be doing to improve that situation, rather than blaming everything on everybody else and projecting all your horseshit on everybody else and bleeding all over everybody else. Try and realize the benefits of a good, healthy mindset and a positive outlook on things, and not to be gullible or easily misled, but to try and maintain your mental faculties to not be a complete crazy person, because nobody likes the crazies. And a certain amount of weird is awesome. That doesn't mean
absolutely.
that change yourself. It's about refining yourself, like making yourself a better person to be around for not just, you know, yourself, but the people around you.
Do something that gives you, that leads you into a positive path. I mean, there's a lot of people that just kind of does things and they only do it because they think it helps them out in some sort of way, but a lot of times it really doesn't. People have to.
Karma's a bitch.
Yeah, it's like you have to do things that are going to be positive and beneficial for your own growth, so that you could be a better example for other people, so people can, you know, follow that example.
Absolutely. Be the change that you want to see in the world. It's like that. It's that easy. Just trying to live a good lifestyle. And believe me, people pick up on that. And it could be your friends, even if it's in a little way, or even they're like, what's up with this dude? He thinks he's like, whatever. Believe me, in the end, be the change that you want to see. Look at yourself.
Yeah, man. It starts with the man in the mirror.
Yes. Take those tough mental evaluations that you don't want to do, that you keep on putting on the back burner and saying, I'm going to keep living my life and creating these mental barriers and creating this alternate reality that I want to live in, because it makes me and my insecurities and low self-esteem or whatever it might be more bearable. No, it's much, much better to be able to shine a light on that, figure out what it is that you're doing wrong, and in the end you will live a much more harmonious, happy, like loving life, at least in my opinion. So that kind of is a nice way to wrap up the show. I think that we got the quote of the week, which Rico had one that he wanted to share with us.
Yeah, I think it fits in kind of with the theme of what we were talking about. It's from Hunter S. Thompson.
Nice.
Who is?
He's an author.
Have you guys ever seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas or
yeah.
Rum Runner or anything like
Gonzo
that?
journalism at its finest.
Yeah, dude, he's a bad motherfucker. Look him up. Hunter S. Thompson.
The quote is, there he goes, one of God's own prototypes, some kind of high-powered mutant, never even considered for mass production, too weird to live and too rare to die. That's gonna be that's gonna be me in the future when I get all my cyborg parts.
I thought he was talking about the platypus, honestly.
They would also be very apt for the platypus as well. Platypi are noobs.
That's awesome. I like that quote, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. Be
It's one of my favorite movies
different.
too. Fear and Loathing.
Yeah, man.
It's excellent.
Oh my god.
All right.
Dude. Yeah. That we're not gonna talk about, but that when we watched it in Brett's room that one night when we were on a specific fungi substance, that was pretty.
It was intense.
That was a
That was
journey,
hilarious.
bro.
It
That
was.
was really intense. When he's chopping up the oranges in the fucking bathtub and shit, or he's wearing that suit jacket, it's like, oh my god, having like an anxiety attack. But
I kept freaking out every time they saw Tobey Maguire. I was just
dude, I always forget that he's in that movie.
It's him.
Oh my god, and he's got that
run away.
blonde hair. It's like, oh shit. All right, well that's the show for this week, you guys. We will be back next week for number 3. I know that we've got the beat of the week that Jeff is going.
Speaking of the beat of the week, you guys like murdered it last week.
Oh, yeah,
by the
we
way.
killed that
so
It was,
bad. And by the way, if you guys listened last week and are back again this week, thank you for giving us another chance.
For real.
We are very aware of how bad that first episode was. And I'm sure this one too, but we're going to keep on trying to get better and better for you guys and for us. And
It's baby steps.
yeah, baby steps. This is the humble beginnings of something that hopefully is going to turn into something very, very cool. So if you guys are already on the journey with us, thank you very, very much. We can be reached on Twitter at Mental Reps. It was Mental Reps Show, and what we wanted to do was wait until this week and let you guys know we're going to change it to Mental Reps Cast, or no?
No, we're gonna keep it the same.
We're going to keep it the same.
It's just a little bit difficult to say when you're saying it out loud, but for simplicity, it's just at Mental Reps Show. All one word.
And if
Enunciate.
the Reps Show screws you up, then I don't know. I mean, you'll see it when you print it out or when you're typing it out. At Mental Reps Show on Twitter.
You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com/user/Mental Reps Podcast, all one word.
Facebook, Mental Reps Podcast on Facebook. And you can email us at mentalrepspodcast@gmail.com.
You can check out some of Jeff's fresh artwork at whatsupdoc.com.
Check that shit out in a real way. And we got some more stuff coming at you guys soon, so we're really looking forward to it, and we hope that you guys like it too. So, Jeff,
without further ado,
drop that beat, son. We do it every week. This is our outro freestyle. Who wants to kick it off?
I'm not.
Nobody wants to kick it off. Again, derail. All right.
We do this every week. The situation looks bleak, but every time I'ma tell you everything that you need to hear. Every year, things keep changing up like this beat.
Monsanto's putting shit, corn syrup in your 7-Up. Fuck up your lungs. Fuck up your brain.
Yeah.
It's gonna make you go insane.
Your membrane.
It's episode 2 when we're doing it right. Sitting across to my left is Victor, and in front of me is Brian Wright.
I like your style.
I'm never gonna stop. I'm never gonna quit.
Jeff, please clean
I'm
it
gonna
up.
keep on rhyming.
Up,
Jeff, rock that shit.
Fucking Space Eagles in this motherfucker. I'm the #1 CEO in this bitch. Fuck rhymes, I came to get rich. GMOs, you don't know the chokehold. Monsanto's got on that ingredient list. So drop that on the spit. The gene splice vegetable that tastes like a fish. It grows no mold and it lasts when it's hit. Cash crop, that shit is legit. So next up on the list, fresh to the streets, federal agents flipping sentient meat. No need for alarm, man. Just go back to sleep. Just remember one thing, motherfuckers.
Ah, you cheated, son. You got a written.
You are what you eat.
You cheated, son. You got a written
awesome.
I had to make up for last week, bro.
Yeah, dude, it has to be done. That's probably a good idea. We should probably have something. But yo,
we're ripping out the solo freestyle here. We're
Mental Reps Podcast.
Mental Reps
episode 2.
Podcast. We love you, motherfuckers.
Thanks for listening.
See you next week, guys.